Hey, folks, this is Lindsey Huddleston back in the building. Another SPS Mental Health Moment with my guy. Everyone can't get a hold of this guy like this, and I'm very fortunate to have the relationship with such a great person who has come back to bring the love and the championship desire back to River Rouge. That is Coach Lamonta Stone. Coach Stone, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's always great to be in the house with you, and I really appreciate the work that you do.
Thank
Not just for the basketball community in Michigan, but just for the community at whole, the mental piece that you do. I really appreciate the great work that you do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I've had a chance to kind of watch you, and I know you're going to be really humble. So you got to help me help you talk about your success, okay? Because I know you'll keep it down, real humble. But you return to River Rouge, and this season, although it was a season like no other with the COVID-19 stopping things abruptly, but I kind of want to give you your roses right now and the success you've had. You have been the Dragon Slayer. You have defeated two state championship teams. You've defeated a Mr. Basketball. And within that state championship team, we have a phenom, and I'll name him by name, Imani Bates. Not take anything away from him and all they've done, but this is your track record. So what I want to do is kind of get you to do a recap of the season. And then let's bring it up to kind of wrap up with your seniors and what's going on with them. But then the last thing I want to do with the time we have, Stone, is be able to get your insight as a former Power 5 coach, being a head coach on the collegiate level, of what this COVID-19 is going to do as it relates to recruiting, as it relates to how it impacts the NCAA, and just give me your thoughts, because I think you can provide a perspective like nobody else in this community. So if you would please help me by taking us through, and let's try to work on that.
We'll do. To the best of my ability.
You're capable.
So you want to start off, I thought we had an excellent season based on, we only had, last year's team had 7 seniors, and basically we had an 8-man rotation. The only underclassman that played on last year's team was that came back this year was Legend Jeter. So there were some doubters. There was some skepticism of how good this team could be, how well we could perform this year. But if you know anything about River Rouge basketball, it's next man up. It doesn't matter, what that team's supposed to be or what it's not supposed to be. I'm from the school of Lofton Green, and he won 13 state championships, 12 state championships.
Unbelievable.
And probably half those teams weren't supposed to win the state championship. And I think that's going into this season, I think that's how everyone besides me and our group of young men felt. There's no way that they can compete for a championship this year, let alone maybe a league title. But that's not how we go into things. That's not the River Rouge way. So our only goal, regardless of the year, is win state championship. That's what we're about. That's what the program, that's the culture of our program. The state championship or bust. And I get into a lot of trouble saying that, even I think in my own, district, but the state championship or bust. That's what we play for. If we don't play for regional championship, district championships, if we're gonna play high school basketball in River Rouge, why not shoot, for the stars? Why not shoot for the moon? Why not try to be the best at what we do? And that's, it's about basketball, but that's a message I teach to our guys in life.
Right.
Whatever you're doing, be the best at it. Don't settle for mediocrity. Don't settle for, second best. I don't care what you're doing in life. And I tell my sons this all the time. We're doing a lot of yard work right now. We're taking the garbage out. I told them, you're gonna take the garbage out, be the best guy taking the garbage out on your block. I told them, there's a lot of people who are making a ton of money, in the garbage business, because they are the best at what they do. And we do it in the form of high school basketball, but we're gonna try to be the best high school basketball in the state. And once we conquer that, our it doesn't stop there. We want to be the best team, one of the best teams in the nation.
So when you do that, it doesn't mean who has the throne at the time. It doesn't mean who's already, the defending state champion. The River Rouge championship mentality is that this is what we're going for no matter who's there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the process of doing our scheduling right now. I'm going to assume that we aren't the number one team in the state when the rankings come out sometime in December. I'm going to assume that Ypsilanti Lincoln, because of Monty Bates, and well-deserved, probably will be the number one team in the state.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to play Amani Bates and Ypsilanti Lincoln first game of the year.
Woo!
Michigan. I don't mind you're not giving us our due. We're going to earn it.
Yeah.
I prefer not to be the number one team in the state at the start of the year.
At the start of the year.
At the end of the year, I want to be number one team in the state. But at the start of the year, I don't mind it. We're going to earn it. And whatever we need to do, wherever we need to play, we'll do that.
So since, the underlying topic is mental health, how do you continue to instill that culture where young people have been focused on getting their props, social media, being on board with them and things like that, and not getting their props and their just desserts early on?
I'm sorry, I missed you. Had some technical. Repeat your question again.
So pretty much, how do you keep that same mental toughness and from a mental health standpoint where these kids can continue to go and get the best they can get, even though they're not getting their props early on in the season?
Because what we do is, we prepare for a long journey, and we start in the summer, and we go to the fall, and what we do is say, hey, we are.
You went on mute, Coach.
And hold on for.
Yeah.
Stop calling. Sorry about that.
Coach, you at home or you in the museum? I don't see chandeliers and paint. Say it, man. I'm just saying what everybody gonna be thinking when they see it.
No, we prepare to be champions, and I tell our guys, and I tell and anyone that's around us, they know that you don't win the championship game on championship day. In Lansing, when you get to Lansing, you don't win that championship that day, that Saturday evening. That championship is won in the summer by the preparation you do in the fall, how much work that you're doing in the fall, and during the season, you got to get better. And that's my job, to get the guys better and get them in the mentality and get the culture to the point where, when we get to that Saturday in Lansing, it's just a foregone conclusion that, we're going to win that game. We're going to be champions.
I've watched you up close, and I know that you're very strategic about what time of year it is and what you should be on. How much has the COVID-19 pandemic and this shutdown had an impact on how that's going to impact you guys going forward with your program, because everything is thrown off right now?
I thought it had a major, major impact on things in our program. But I thought we were headed to I thought we were playing our best basketball towards the end of the season. I mean, we played well during the course of the year, but I thought we turned it up a notch those last 3 games going into state tournament. We beat a very good Benton Harbor team. Then had to go on the road and be a tough Romulus team.
The Benton Harbor team that has the reigning Mr. Basketball. All due respect to young Scooby, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And then we had to go on the road and beat a very good, talented young Romulus team, and then had to go back on the road and beat the Division 4 state championship team from the previous year, Southfield Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we played as well as we could play in those 3 games. And I just thought at that time of the year we were peaking, and I'm not a fortune teller, but I thought we were playing well enough and good enough to win the state championship. But like I told our guys, you guys are 16, 17, 18 years old. So, you don't understand. Sometimes life is going to throw you a curveball, and it's how you have prepared yourself before that curveball hit is how you're going to survive the curve. And I told our guys, hey, we have done all we can do as a basketball team, as a basketball program. At that time, we were ranked #1 team in the state, not by our saying, Detroit News and Detroit Free Press. So, you have proved to the state of Michigan that you are the #1 team, you are the best team in the state. So, because of something that you can't control, your season is ended.
Yeah.
But you have done all the necessary things that you need to do to take place to be successful. So when your season ended, you were at the top of the mountain. And that's what I told them. That's what I told them. And that was, I tried to find, I'm a psychology major. So, I tried to find any positive, the positive spin that I could put on this and relay it to these guys and let them know that it's not a negative. This is a positive, and we're going to find the positivity, in this COVID situation.
Right.
And my guys have done a great job. We meet through Zoom Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and work out and condition. And it's funny because the first Monday we did it last week, a couple weeks ago. It's supposed to have been a workout meeting, but that was actually the first time that all the guys had got together since we played our last game.
Okay.
So I felt that, and I just let those guys go for about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, you recognize that. You recognize how special that was, so you said you diverted to that. It's funny you say that because based on your experience and what you've done, you're able to kind of give them a little bit to help them with this big thing. But let's talk about something that's new for everybody as it relates to your seniors, recruitment, the NCAA, and I really want to tap into your NCAA knowledge and experience as far as what you project may be the case as it relates to opportunities for young people and how this may totally impact the class of 2020 and 2021.
You know what? I feel bad. I really do. As much as we talk about winning and winning state championships, this is really about these kids and the development of them becoming men. And this is really taking the back seat to the kids that really hurt the kids from that standpoint. Like you take, for instance, the 2021 class, the kids that are juniors that are soon to be seniors. This is a time of the year when most of those kids are getting recruited and recruited really hard.
Right.
And I use one of my kids, for example, Legend Jesus.
Yes, great young man.
Legend got, before the season started, he had 2 scholarship offers, University of Detroit and Miami of Ohio. He picked up probably about 10, 11 during the season. Since our season has ended, Legend only has 1 or 2 scholarship offers. Duquesne and Legend and Wisconsin and Western Michigan came right after the season.
That's not a poor reflection on him or a decline in his play or people thinking differently. That's just the current state of affairs.
That's the current state of affairs. What happens right now is, Legend will probably have played 2 or 3 tournaments, at least 1 tournament where the collegiate coaches could be out and evaluating. And he probably, just the cycle he was on, Legend would probably have, maybe a half a dozen more scholarship offers right now at this time. And the important thing is, it's not the scholarship offers, it's the level of those offers. Legend right now has all the offers from Michigan, Ohio, the surrounding states. I mean, he has just about all the mid-major offers from those schools in those areas. He's probably tapped out at mid-major offers. So what would normally be happening now with Legend is, the Power 5 schools would be coming in and saying, hey, Legend, we're offering you a scholarship. And to this point, he has Georgetown, and Duquesne is on the cuffs of Power 5, but Georgetown for sure. But that Georgetown offer came right before the season ended. So that's the direction he was headed, and COVID-19 put a drastic stop to to that cycle.
So what happens with that? Does that mean that guys like Legend Jeter may be kind of stuck in place, or it's not the NCAA? These Power Fives have to get players. So will they not offer these guys? They will look other places. They will stay closer to home. What is it going to be?
I think what's going to happen is, it take me back to my days at Ohio State and the recruiting meetings that we had and the topics that we talked about. And I think one of the main things that's going to come up, and probably already started in these meetings, in these recruiting meetings, is they're going to start recruiting regional. There's just, and then you talk about the economic factor that's coming at us. These athletic directors are going to cut their budgets, and they're going to cut them drastically. So what's going to happen is a kid like Legend, whereas Georgetown came in and offered him, where now Georgetown's going to say, hey, yeah, we offered Legend, but let's moving forward. Let's keep our recruiting regional. Let's recruit this East Coast corridor so we could save on our budget. We don't have to get on the plane and go to the Midwest or go outside of our area. We go and get in the car and drive 2 or 3 hours. And the second part of that is your relationships, and the more contacts you have are more regional.
Right.
Right. Michigan and Michigan State, your contacts are probably in the state of Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. They're probably a 4 or 5 hour radius. So I think 2 things are going to happen. The programs are going to recruit regional, and because of the budget, they're going to recruit regional, and it's going to use Legend, because I know Legend, and we're part of the process right now. The offers are going to be limited. They're just not going to be like they were before in the past.
Wow. So you're talking about players, and then you talked about relationships. What about coaches? Is there going to be stability in coaching positions that were once on the bubble, or is that going to change a lot? We saw, for example, Western Michigan made a decision after they let go longtime coach Steve Hawkins to just hire their assistant because they didn't want to get involved in the national search. Is that going to be part of the course, you think?
I think COVID-19 saved probably 25 to 30 coaches this year.
Wow.
What happened was those coaches, because of, schools can't do searches or there were freeze on hiring, those coaches were saved. They can't get, they weren't going to get fired. They couldn't get fired. And that's a blessing. That's one of the things we talked about with our guys, trying to find a positive in the negative.
Right.
So in this situation, from the coaching standpoint, is, you may have got saved for another year or two. Which is, I always think is a good thing. This profession is tough, and I never like to see guys lose their jobs, because I know everyone works so hard at it.
Right.
But that's a positive that COVID-19 presented for.
One of the positives. So let's include another stakeholder in this process, the parents. What advice would you give to parents who are involved in the recruiting process, who may have this idea of like, no, I'm going to hold out because I really think that my son or daughter, for the most part, deserves to be at a certain level, but then they don't get those offers, and they may pass on something else that may get filled, and now you get pushed out. So what advice do you give parents during this particular season of COVID-19 recruitment?
Great question. And now to answer that question and directly, now not the time to hold out. If you have something that's pretty good and you like it and it fits the narrative that you're looking for, and your son or daughter goes to school, take it. And I think you got 2 examples in our area right now that I think they've done a great job of exactly what we're talking about. Pierre Brooks, who's a junior, senior to be, committed to Michigan State, and Julian Roper, just yesterday, committed to Northwestern.
He did. Okay, I didn't know that. Congratulations to him. I know
so you got
too.
You got 2 examples right there. Now, their process was sped up a little bit because they not seeing this coming, but they took some visits in the fall
Right.
before basketball season started. Julian visited Northwestern, and Pierre has probably been up to Michigan State probably a handful of times.
Exactly.
So they were able, and once again, we're talking about regionalizing recruiting. Both of those schools are, in both those young men' backyards. So they were able to visit campus, know and understand the philosophy and the culture of those programs, because you see them on TV, you see them if they come play Michigan or Michigan State. So I thought those are great choices by both of those two young men.
And I think it's something to be said, to add to your point. Both their dads, I know, are heavily, rooted in the prep sport aspect. So they're not new to this. They're very familiar with it. So that added to the fact that, they say, hey, this is a great opportunity. With the time that we have, man, what can you say overall to players, parents, coaches, your community, as far as the tragedies that we've had with the loss of life, no doubt. But what can you say to keep the inspiration up, not just for River Rouge, but for all the people who may be in earshot of this message right now, as far as what we can do when we get back to some kind of normalcy and continue on the great tradition of sports in Michigan?
I like to be the example, and I always say, one of my catchphrases is I like to be the solution, not the problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to figure out as a program, what can we do to help. And individually, I mean, just, I think our governor is doing a great job. She's telling us to stay home. She's telling us to wear a mask, wear gloves if necessary. Keep your distance, you're 6 feet away. And I just think we need to continue to follow her lead. And I think she's doing a great job of guiding us through this process, and, just trusting her. And, I use her to send her message to my young men or anyone that I may be in day-to-day contact with or weekly contact with, and just, hey, stay safe, because, this is something something that, in our lifetime, we have never seen before, but this is adjustment, and, we'll get through it, but we just have to change some of the things and some of our ways. And, the biggest thing is, you look at, football season coming up for us in the fall. And, we have two huge universities that draw, Michigan State and Michigan draw huge numbers of fans to those football games. And, it'll be a testament to see what those universities do for football and how they attack, that situation, and what they do to bring fans back into the fold. And I think what we'll do is we'll follow that lead into basketball season.
Absolutely. And, and no matter what someone's politic is, how they agree or disagree, if they love sports, and if they want sports to come back, they're going to have to do the right things to keep it safe. There's no way around that, because we're not going to be able to be back in the gym on top of each other if we haven't taken the right precautions to get right. And I think that's beyond politics. That's just the common sense way of approaching it. So you're absolutely right. So
yeah, I'm gonna be a little selfish right now. We need to do what we need to do to get sports back. The sports is my therapy. Basketball is my therapy. And I lost my therapist. I need my therapist back.
Hey, I feel you. And I want to be right there with you while you getting your therapy, man. I got Coach Lamonta Stone of River Rouge, not just a great championship coach, but just a great human being, not just in sports, but just in the community. If you're ever around him, for those who are listening, there's not a piece of information he wouldn't be willing to share, a kind word he wouldn't be willing to give. And I appreciate you. I appreciate our relationship. And my calendar is marked for your first game back to be right there in the building and to talk to you after it's all over. So I really appreciate you taking the time. We're going to get this out for people to see it and impact lives in a positive way. So thank you for joining me on the SPS Mental Health Moment.
No, thank you. Thank you. And I really appreciate what you do for our community.
All right. So much love, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk in a minute.